Yep. Good evening, friends, and a warm welcome to another episode of our live interaction with authors. And today I am privileged and I'm super excited to have with me Suresh Sadgopal. Hi, Suresh.
Hi, Vivek. Thank you so much for calling me on this show. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming and accepting my invitation.
My pleasure. My
So,
pleasure. Thank you very much.
Suresh is a dear friend and a pillar of the financial planning and advisory fraternity in the country. And all I can say about him is sirf naam hi kafi hai. And so before we get before we deep dive into the discussion on the book, let me introduce Suresh to all of you, and then we will get into discussing about the book, If God Was Your Financial Planner. Okay, so Suresh is the principal officer of Ladder 7 Wealth Planners Private Limited, a specialist financial planning advisory firm based out in Mumbai, India. Suresh is a registered investment advisor with fiduciary responsibility. He has done his MMS and is certified financial planner, chartered trust and estate planner, and a registered investment advisor. He was on the board of directors of SPSB India, the CFP certifying body in India, for the period between 2013 and 15, and has been on several committees of FPSB India over the years. He founded Financial Planning Guild India, FPGI, in 2010 and was the founding president for about 4 years. Right now, he is an advisory member to the board. He is also a founding member of Association of Registered Investment Advisors, which is known as ARIA. He is a board member and co-chairman of ARIA in 2019 and was on the advisory board and was also on the advisory board of Network FP. He's addressed several gatherings and TV audiences on the subject of finances to coach them on personal finance and enable them to take the right decisions to achieve financial freedom. He contributes regularly to various publications on finance and related subjects, has written hundreds of articles on various aspects of finance and related subjects for reputed publications like the Times of India, the Business Standard, Economic Times, Money Today, Outlook Money, India Today, moneycontrol.com, DNA Money, Financial Planning Journal. He's also contributed to blogs for financialplanning.org, the international blog of FTSB US. He's participated in several shows on NDTV Profit, NDTV Big Fight, CNBC TV 18, Bloomberg Quint, India Today, BTVI, CNN, IBN, CNBC Awaaz, etc. Also participated as a speaker and as an expert in several panel discussions organized by FTSB India, Network FP, Outlook Money, Money Today, DNA, etc. He was also a jury member to select the winners of Business Today, Money Today Financial Services Awards 2018 in several financial services category. Wow, that's too much, Suresh, and that's the reason I say sirf naam hi kafi hai. So welcome, Suresh, and we would like to understand about the book from you, If God Was Your Financial Planner. So what made you write this book and what were your thoughts on this?
See, I have been into financial planning practice since 2004. See, as an individual advisor and with my team, there are only so many people that I can reach out to. This is number one. So there are a whole lot of other people who do not have access to good quality advice. So the number of financial advisors in the country is actually not very high. Considering the population that we seek to address, it is not very high. So I wanted to capture the foundational basic principles of financial planning, and I wanted to put it in front of the people in the form of a simple book. This book has been narrated in a kind of a story style. So I have made the book fairly accessible to anybody who wants to read it, and anybody who wants to read it like a novel. They can just go through and then they can go through various chapters. And they can pick on specific points which are of direct interest to them, and they can read that. The second thing is, see, I have been writing articles since 2007. Okay, in various publications, articles, blogs, and all that. So I had actually written on virtually all the subjects in financial planning. So what I was thinking is, and some people have actually told me that you are writing articles. The article has a shelf life of maybe 1 week, 4 days, 10 days, that kind of a thing. Even if it is a online article, it is probably for months. And a lot of times there are new articles which have come up, and it goes behind. It may not even come in the searches. So why don't you actually put everything in a book, where suppose somebody wants to know all the things that you have written about, all your I mean thoughts on various subjects, it will be available in one place. So I mean, those were the reasons why I thought, yeah, maybe writing a book at this point in time does make sense. So that is the genesis of the idea.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, and matlab, when I was reading this book, I realized it's a very balanced approach that you have taken while making people understand whether it was the role of the advisor, what is the basis of the charge that a financial advisor is charging, the kind of products that an investor should choose from, and how to mitigate the risk, the kind of life they should live. So I think that was also beautifully covered in the book. And so generally I've seen author covering only one or two aspects, and does not have this kind of a complete I would say the overall picture which gets covered. Okay, so what was the genesis of one thing you said is, yeah, definitely this is because people wanted you to bring everything all together. Was that the only thing of bringing everything together? And how difficult or how easy was it? Because at times it becomes very difficult to put everything together.
Yeah, so I'll answer these 2-3 questions which you have posed to me. See, the first thing is, I mean, I have been practicing as a financial advisor. So this is not exactly a personal finance book. It is this book is actually coming out of the actual practice related experience that we have. So that is why, I mean, it is not about particularly about products or particularly about a particular subject. So I have written this book as a financial advisor, and what I have seen vis-a-vis my clients when I'm dealing with the clients as a financial advisor. So I mean, there are quite a few things which we see in terms of how people relate to an advisor. What are the problems we advisors face in terms of explaining to the clients regarding the returns, return expectation of the client, and fulfilling the return expectation of the client, the fees that we charge, and what are the conversations that happen. Why should they pay fees? So these are some things which we face on a regular basis. And I thought it may be useful for somebody who is actually looking at probably going to any financial advisor for that matter, to understand the basics of, I mean, what is financial advisory and how it is useful, irrespective of which advisor they go to, and what is the kind of journey that they can expect with a financial advisor. So that is what that is what I was trying to capture in this book. Apart from the knowledge aspect itself, what is the journey of a person with a financial advisor, and what is that they can expect as a, you can say, benefit out of an engagement with a financial advisor. That is what I've tried to capture, apart from the knowledge. Is there anything I left out, Vivek, that I have had to cover?
No, perfect. So we will, if anything is left out, we will cover as and when it comes. So what you have done is, when I was reading the book, I realized, and in fact, I was actually visualizing you advising your clients. So one is I liked about the book was the visual appeal which it created, because generally topic as mundane as financial planning, you're talking numbers, you're talking, those basic things about, how the money has to grow, and how you have to manage there is other things. So it came up with a beautiful concept. So when I talk of balanced approach, I was also looking at, the fiction also coming in, the advice also coming in, the spirituality and psychology also coming in, and everything was perfectly balanced. Nothing was, moving or dominating the other part. So it was a skill really. I would appreciate you for that, and loved the whole book while I was reading, and particularly moving after, I think, third or fourth chapter, when the whole tempo was building up. And I think in the chapter 8, Vishal died, one of the main, I would say, the character of the whole book. And thereafter, it was actually, I couldn't leave the book after that. So I finished it in a single sitting. And
great.
going through the story of Vishal, he seems to be a typical client that we face, okay, who thinks, life is very linear and everything is going in a hunky-dory way, and we have our aspirations, we'll fulfill our aspirations. We may not focus on certain things because we don't perceive them as coming in. And at times, so he missed out one or two of your advice, which proved a bit challenging, but yeah, you were able to sail the family through. So what is your observation over here, and what would you advise people considering that experience as to how should they look at approach their life and their finances both?
So, I mean, Vishal's character, in a sense, kind of reflects some portions of some of our clients. Okay. So there are a lot of people who tend to think that, okay, we have to live life today. I mean, I'm okay with that kind of an approach. You live life today. You have fun today. I don't have any problem. But we will also have to be mindful of the tomorrows, especially when there is a family and when there are commitments which we need to anyway fulfill. I mean, we cannot be irresponsible. I mean, in this story, Vishal was bordering on being slightly irresponsible in the way that they were again and again bringing up goals which were going to be rather difficult to even, fit in. So those kind of things. And yeah, he, like you rightly observed, he also thought that the life is going to be linear. Yeah, you never anticipate that suddenly you're going to pass away. So that is, of course, there, and that can happen to any of us. But there was no margin of safety as far as Vishal's life was concerned. And he was acting, like I said, slightly irresponsibly. And he was acting like, things will work out fine. And probably because he has given that kind of a picture to his wife was also playing along. And she was also talking about a home, international education and stuff like that. At one point in time, I was able to convince them that probably this international schooling and all that which they are talking about probably may not work out, especially in the context of educating all the three children that way. So, I mean, this is actually something that we tend to face with at least some of the clients. I mean, they want to give the family the best, the children the best and all that. While I understand all that, the lifestyle which people have, I mean, that has to move up slowly as compared to how your income moves. So this is a very tough thing for many people to understand. So if your salary moves up, say 4 notches, you move your lifestyle slowly up, because you don't want to come down on your lifestyle ever. So you move your lifestyle slowly up and don't move it so rapidly that if there is a small problem, then it will all come crashing down. So it should not be like that. And Vishal, unfortunately, was that kind of a person, unfortunately, where it was bordering on being slightly irresponsible. So for these kind of people, how we tell them is, of course, I mean, exactly the same dialogue which we had with Vishal and his wife. So we do have those kind of dialogues with our clients. Yeah, all I can say is many people do understand, some people don't understand. And if some people don't understand, the only thing that can teach them is actual real life experience. Nothing teaches them like life. So we will have to be very, you can say, we have to be patient as advisors. So that is what I have learned. So some people have learned these things after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Yeah, it is a costly 2-3 years learning. But for some people, it takes time, and some people never learn. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag. So Vishal, I don't know. I mean, if I developed the story, I don't know. Had he survived, how he would have been, I don't know. I have not really thought about that. But you have all kinds of characters out there.
Yeah, that's true. So there was another story of Bala. Now that was the story I was inspired by because of the very unique solution which came out to his challenge that he faced after being asked to leave the company. And now this is something which always makes me think, okay, there is a solution available. Only thing is we are not thinking out of the box. Okay, the traditional thought process is going in our mind and we don't want to think beyond that. And how a financial advisor can help people with this kind of thinking, or at least facilitate this kind of thinking?
Yeah. So one of the advantages we financial advisors have is that
Hmm.
see we are not emotionally engrossed in their life, okay,
Hmm.
or ideally we should not be emotionally so very invested in their life.
Hmm.
So when that is the case, then you are able to stand apart and take a dispassionate view on the whole thing,
Hmm.
and you are able to give a different perspective which may not have even occurred to our client.
Hmm.
And that is exactly what has happened in the case of Bala.
Hmm.
So there were perspectives which probably he did not even consider, and it occurred to the advisor. I mean, in this particular context, the God, there is a God angle which is also coming into this case. But
Hmm.
what I wanted to talk about is basically an advisor can add tremendous value. And one more thing I want to add here is that any advisor has to be widely read. So
Hmm.
you never know in what kind of situation, what kind of knowledge when you tap can be useful from the client point of view. So in terms of engaging clients also,
Hmm.
I mean, a client also wants to talk to an advisor who is seen as an intelligent, well-read, well-rounded kind of a person.
Hmm.
So, and it comes in handy when you're actually interacting with a client and you want to come up with a solution. So I think an advisor has this advantage of not being emotionally invested, standing outside and looking from outside inside their particular situation,
Hmm.
and suggesting solutions. Sometimes, since we do not know about that particular industry, something, I mean, there are people who cannot think outside the road. Okay, so they go round and round in circles.
Hmm.
So since we don't know so much about that industry, we come up with a solution which may appear too stupid at the to start with, but
Hmm.
actually that may be the solution also.
Hmm.
So thinking outside of the box, it happens because of these kind of things,
Hmm.
possibly from the advisor point of view.
Perfect. So another question which comes to my mind while reading the Bala story again was he, in the book the solution was depicted as coming from the god, and then you took it to Bala.
Yeah.
But what I observed was you never gave the solution to Bala. You just created a situation wherein he comes out with a solution. And at times we have seen advisors giving solutions and trying to rather than facilitating the discussion and bringing the solution out from the client, we prefer giving the solutions. So was there a purpose behind that also? You created that situation?
Yeah, it is important for the client to slowly get into the groove and understand in which direction we are actually nudging them.
Hmm.
It is always better, and there is always a better buy-in from the client point of view if they feel that okay, now they are able to, they are going in a particular direction, and suddenly they see something and they say aha, so this is what it is probably I mean,
Hmm.
what I should have seen all along,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it is not my solution. So I mean, the idea was never that okay, I have come with a solution, come up with a solution.
Hmm.
I am here to help my client to see something in a different light,
Hmm.
so that ultimately if his life is going to be, you can say, I mean, whatever is derailed now, suppose his it comes back on the rails,
Hmm.
that is the ultimate from an advisor point of view.
Hmm.
And anytime we try to give the solution to anybody, I mean, it is always resistant. That is human tendency.
Hmm.
So instead of that, if you slowly nudge, and it is a kind of a discovery exercise for somebody,
Hmm.
in terms of actually going along and saying, oh, acha, this is the hidden thing I did not see all along. Oh my God, how I want to kick myself. So they may
Hmm.
say all that, but they feel that they have discovered that. So when that happens, then I mean, there is no turning back. Then
Hmm.
they take that as what they have discovered or their solution, and they own it up and they action that, and that is exactly what we want.
Exactly. So being a catalyst is more important rather than giving the solution ourselves. Great. That was a great learning. And so again, what was in your mind when you introduced this element of God in the whole book?
Yeah. See, as far as uh, I mean, as far as this book is concerned, I
Hmm.
wanted to bring in not just finance and advisory angle.
Hmm.
I wanted to very much bring in the life philosophy angle. So because I mean, wrongly, a lot of people tend to think that finance is all about money and financial advisors are all about money, investment, return, asset allocation, these kind of things.
Hmm.
See, actually, all of us are actually dealing with the client's lives. And I wanted an authoritative voice who can talk beyond that money and about the life philosophy itself and how we have to transcend this thing called money and
Hmm.
look at life in its entirety. So I did not want to be the person to talk about that because I wanted a, you can say, a real, heavy duty voice to do that talking. So
Hmm.
that is when I thought, okay, what do we do? So I thought, okay, let us bring in God. So
Hmm.
like in Mahabharat, there is that voice, that Kal.
Hmm.
So there is that voice which talks about, right? I mean, it spans millennia and it gives the perspective as to what is happening or what is going to happen.
Hmm.
So something similar, I thought will be helpful. So that is why I had brought God to
Hmm.
give in the actual life philosophy and the perspectives around life far beyond money, which I feel is one of the clear takeaways as far as this book is concerned. This book is not about finance. This book is about placing finance in perspective in the entire journey of life.
Great. And the next story that came out was Raj and Naina. And that was again a very typical client who wanted to do something to improve their situation, but was not ready to change themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. And despite what I understood is, despite you doing everything, their position never improved and they were always in a precarious situation, even when their daughter was going up for higher education and
Correct.
other stuff. So,
Correct.
and we all face these kind of clients also. So,
Absolutely.
what would you say on this?
See, I mean, as advisors, we can nudge them, we can advise them, we can counsel them, we can
Hmm.
take along, and guide them. So,
Hmm.
but beyond the point, there are certain people who resist learning, who
Hmm.
resist changing their old ways. They want to keep going into their own comfortable rut.
Hmm.
So for these kind of people, an advisor probably may not be very effective. It is
Hmm.
not about the advisor. It is about their own, well-worn thought patterns and
Hmm.
well-worn
Hmm.
habits. So
Hmm.
if they are not willing to change the thought patterns and habit and things like that, then it is going to be rather difficult
Hmm.
for any advisor to do anything. So yes, you are absolutely right. We do find certain clients like this from time to time. There is
Hmm.
nothing much we can do.
Hmm.
uh, at certain points after a few years, we tell some of these clients that, I mean, we are not able to do anything. I mean, you are continuing. We actually have clients like that. You are
Hmm.
continuing the way you are,
Hmm.
and as an advisor, I'm not satisfied because I have not been able to show much progress.
Hmm.
So a lot of times in these kind of cases, if it is possible, we disengage as much as possible because I mean, we also don't feel very good about these kind of cases, right? I mean, where we are not able to make any difference, any progress at all.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Ultimately, I mean, as a professional, you want to see your client do well. Otherwise, you
Exactly.
don't feel nice about the whole thing, right?
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, they are there. Abhi, kya karenge? They are there. These kind of clients are there.
Hmm. And I think if we are able to change one of those clients, then the sense of achievement is much higher in our practice.
Yeah, it does happen, Vivek. It's
Hmm.
not that every client persists like these clients whom I have written the book. I have purposely brought them in
Hmm.
to just show, to highlight,
Hmm.
to show in stark relief that there are people from the same advisor, somebody is actually benefiting majorly, and
Hmm.
there are people from the same advisor, they are not able to benefit, and they are going from one firefighting situation to another firefighting situation. That money situation does not improve at all. So that is what I wanted to show. In
Hmm.
a sense, I mean, I'm also showing that it is not the advisor alone who can actually create magic. The
Hmm.
magic has to be co-created. It has to be along with the client. If the client
Hmm.
is responsible and if they work together with us, actually magic can be created. Like it has happened in many other cases. It has happened.
Yeah.
It can happen. Now I call it the advisory wealth effect. It can happen actually.
Hmm.
But if the client is not at all cooperative and they want to do it whatever way, and they don't want to change an iota at all,
Hmm.
then nothing happens. So that is the reason for bringing that particular client.
Hmm. So technically, we don't have a magic wand with us wherein we will change everything and everything will happen for good. We need to work together. Then only things will change.
Correct.
And I think another aspect can be Vishal and Preeti, wherein after Preeti, coming, well, after Vishal's death, Preeti was there and she did everything what was being told, and that life changed for good. At least the financial part, not the emotional. So definitely we can't say much, but yeah, definitely on the financial part, she was much better off.
Correct. So what happened in that particular story, at least, as far as Preeti is concerned, after a point, she realized that first and foremost, she was not really greatly interested in finances. Number one. Number two, she was emotionally drained and she had 3 children to take care of. So in a sense, she was also at one point in time, she was kind of completely resigned, saying that you tell me whatever you tell me, I will do. So it is at that time I had told her that this is your life, this is your finances. I can advise, but decisions you will have to take, you will have to pull yourself up. You cannot just say, you tell me what to do. I am not going to tell you anything. I am an advisor. Okay. Ultimately, you have to take the decision. So what happened in Preeti's case, at least what has happened in the story, is that she has become a good compliant client. Okay. Who takes good counsel and moves forward. So that is why in her case, unlike in the case of Vishal, probably she was also influenced greatly by Vishal's, you can say, optimism, misplaced optimism. But after that, once he was not there and she got those knocks in life, she became a far, far more compliant client and was far, far more easier to work with. The same person. So that was also another thing which will come out in this particular book. The same person became a different person after the husband's death. So till that time, she wanted a bigger house. She wanted to educate her children and international schools, and she was talking something else. But after her husband's death, reality kind of caught up with her, and she kind of mellowed down quite a bit.
So there was another story of Anshuman and Krupa and the marriage counseling.
Yeah.
I know in the book you were a bit reluctant to become a marriage counselor rather than a financial advisor. But when you see, okay, someone, at the verge of getting separated and with your, a bit of nudge coming in, they actually come together and they prosper together.
Yeah.
What feeling comes to you?
So initially, when I was writing this particular portion of the story, I was actually, had this situation actually been there with a client, this is a fictional situation. Okay. Had this situation actually been there and people had, somebody had, Anshuman had actually approached about counseling and all that, actually I would have declined. That is not our area. We are not trained for that. Okay. And probably any emotions that may come up in that counseling session or that discussion, I'm not very sure whether I would have been able to handle that properly. So my reluctance was in that area that, I am a finance person. To some extent, we can talk about life. To some extent, we can solve those problems in life. But if there is a major distress, like to the point of a divorce, I was not at all sure whether I am the person to deal with. But Anshuman was very, very insistent. Okay. And fortunately, it panned out that, the divorce situation was itself kind of precipitated by his irresponsible acts in the financial domain. Yeah. There was nothing else which was majorly affecting their relationship. There was no other problem. But Krupa was, absolutely angry that he was acting absolutely irresponsibly without any regard for the family's future. So in that sense, it worked out. Marriage counseling is not easy. Not easy for even a proper family counselor. But in this case, since it had a financial angle, and that is why there was a discord. So it kind of worked out. So that also I have kind of, in a sense, you can read between the lines. So I have, I have been reluctant as a marriage counselor, and one of the things which I also want as a takeaway for all the advisors who are reading is that we cannot do everything. We are not trained for everything. Okay, to some extent we can talk about life, we can give our perspectives on life and things like that. But if it is a special situation, you require people who are trained to handle those special situations. We have to be very, very humble about that. We are not master of all subjects. So that is what I have tried to tell Anshuman also, and I think it is relevant for all the advisors. So we cannot do everything.
Exactly.
And in this particular case, it happened fine, primarily because it was a finance-related problem. Otherwise, it probably would not have come to that happy conclusion.
Maybe that anger and the helplessness of the finance not working out because of one person's irresponsible behavior was affecting the other person, and she was more concerned about that, and that was the reason she was bringing the topic of divorce. Maybe.
Once Anshuman came out clean, and he said that I have completely messed it up. Okay, I do understand that I have completely messed it up, and this is the person I'm going to, and he is going to help us in that. Why don't you come with me? Let us meet this financial advisor. Let us put it back on track. I am willing to take a job. So when he said all that to his wife, she kind of also thought that, okay, there is no other problem. It is only purely a financial problem. And if the person is repentant, and if the person wants to turn a new leaf, and there is also going to be a financial advisor in the background, so she felt that probably why not give it a try? I mean, why should I completely overturn the boat? Why not give it a try? And they came back to the financial advisor, and it worked well in this case.
Yeah. So while going through all these stories, and one thing which comes to my mind is we go through so many emotional upheavals all our life. Okay, sometimes the client is happy, sometimes he's elated, sometimes he's frustrated, he's rejected, and we live all these emotions with him to an extent. Do you think in the long run it disturbs if you are too much attached with the client and his emotions? It affects us as a person?
See, I would say that we should, to some extent, stay aloof as far as the client is concerned. So one of the things we need to learn, like in any doctor's case, they will be able to perform a surgery as long as they are not emotionally attached. For example, they cannot perform a surgery on their own daughter, okay, or their own wife. Okay, so that is going to be difficult. So if we want to give credible solutions to people, okay, we have to slightly stand apart from that family. I'm not saying that we should not be close, but we should also learn to stand slightly apart. Only then, in my opinion, actually we can come up with solutions which probably they may not be able to come up themselves. Okay, I'm talking from the purely the emotional aspect, and of course from a financial point of view, we will come up with solutions. We are trained for that. So I feel that while we are going to be affected by the ups and downs in a client life, we have to slightly maintain that distance from the client, because we have to be effective as far as our clients are concerned. And for being effective, we should not be so emotionally invested in the client's life. So that's my view. If you get completely emotionally invested in the client's life, you may not be able to give the best possible solution to the client. Yeah. So we are all humans. We are all going to be affected by to some level based on the emotions of various people. But that is true in any profession, right? It is not true only for financial advisor. To some extent, the human interactions and what happens in various people's life do affect us. I think we will have to take that in the stride. But professionally speaking, we should not get too very involved, too very affected by that, because that can impact our professional delivery of advice and counsel to the client.
So, are you doing anything specific which helps you, maintain that emotional distance with the client, or help you detach with the client?
No, there is no specific thing I am doing that way. But at the same time, this thought is always there in the back of my mind, that I have to be effective vis-a-vis my client. Okay, the client
Hmm.
has come to me for a purpose, and
Hmm.
I have to effectively discharge my duty to
Hmm.
the client. I have a duty to the client. I need to effectively discharge that duty to the client.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
from that point of view, we have to be mindful of what is the journey that the client is hoping to, hoping to forge in the future.
Hmm.
And that journey, we have to ensure that they go along that path, achieve all those things. And if this emotions and all these things come in the way, it can actually be detrimental to their best interest. So I
Hmm.
keep that in focus, that the client has come for a particular reason. The client
Hmm.
has charted out a certain journey, and
Hmm.
we are the ones who are going to help us help these people to achieve that journey. So I keep that always in focus. If the
Hmm.
client goes here and there in terms of, moving away from that because of emotions or because of other reasons,
Hmm.
we try to get them back on track as far as their journey ahead. I mean, we try to clarify things for them.
Hmm.
We try to again go back to the basics and reiterate what we started out with, what
Hmm.
were the things we wanted to achieve,
Hmm.
and then refocus them onto the base objectives. So,
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
those are the things that are always there in my mind, that I have a purpose. I have a purpose for engaging with the client. So that is
Hmm.
what I keep thinking. There is nothing else very specific that I do.
Okay. Okay. Great. So there was one more story of Ajay and Arundhati, and before they approached, they were very, I would say, apprehensive whether they should come, they should not come, and who should they should engage with. They interviewed many financial planners. They spoke with a lot of people. Even before engaging you, they spoke with a lot of your clients, and then they came to you. They were still skeptical, and that relationship built up to a very trustworthy relationship over a period of time.
Correct.
So, what are the things, matlab, and matlab, you all know trust cannot be built by one person. So, it has to be a two-way journey. So, from the planner's perspective and from the client's perspective, how we increase the trust factor and how we ensure that the trust keeps on increasing to a level wherein we start, you know, uh, not having any kind of doubts about the other person.
Yeah. So Ajay and Arundhati's case is a classic case. We find many people like that actually.
Hmm.
People who are doing extremely well in life. Okay,
Hmm.
in lot of cases like Ajay and Arundhati, there are a lot of couples who are professionally. They are doing extremely well and earning a very good sum of money. We
Hmm.
have lot of such clients.
Hmm.
Some of them have had adverse experience with various people, whether it is banks or wealth managers or XYZ,
Hmm.
whatever. Many of them have had a bad experience. So they have a reason to distrust financial service professionals or that community in general. Okay, so
Agree.
I would not really fault them, because I mean they are, they come with a certain baggage,
Hmm.
and that is why they look at everybody with the in that prism. And if I am going to say, I mean, the previous people whom they have dealt with, they have not
Hmm.
charged a fee, and
Hmm.
suddenly I'm saying that I'm a fee only planner and I want to charge a fee, and that too I'm going to charge a massive fee. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
which in their eyes is probably, I mean, unwarranted. Okay,
Hmm.
from their point of view, it's very very huge.
Hmm.
So obviously they will be skeptical. So they are
Hmm.
not sure what they are getting into.
Hmm.
In the case of, in most other cases, you have something which you can compare with. If you are buying a car, you have certain something to compare. If you are anything else in life, when you are buying, you have something to compare with. This is a
Hmm.
new profession,
Hmm.
and you don't have anything to compare with, especially when they are coming from somebody who is not charging anything to
Hmm.
somebody who is charging a good sum of money for doing a financial plan or advice. They don't know what to expect. And
Hmm.
even though we have talked to them, we have shown them we are fiduciaries, we are fee only, we will do what is good for you, we will save a lot of money in terms of
Hmm.
cost. We have told them all that, but they are not able to understand that. And
Hmm.
what has happened is, I mean, they at a particular point, it is his wife who nudges him that let us go with it. So they, if you actually read the book, they take a calculated decision to come to us. Okay, they are probably not fully convinced. Okay,
Hmm.
they take a calculated risk in terms of coming to us, saying that okay, let us pay the fees, let us see what happens.
Hmm.
So after they do that, see, these are people who don't have time. I mean,
Hmm.
if you have read the story, these are extremely busy people. Okay,
Hmm.
they don't have time. In fact, at one point in time, they even joke that we don't have the time for having a kid. So
Yeah.
they are so very busy. Okay,
Hmm.
so now once they experience a financial advisor, and once they experience their team and what their team can do for their family,
Hmm.
then there is no looking back. So that is
Hmm.
exactly what happened with Ajay and Arundhati. So they were huge skeptics to start with. I mean, understandably so, because of the baggage, because of where they were coming from. But
Hmm.
once they experienced the financial advisor and how much actually they can help them in their life
Hmm.
vis-a-vis their finances, then they were completely hooked and they were an ideal client. After a particular point, they became an ideal client for us. This
Hmm.
has happened with lot of clients we have handled. So this is a typical story actually.
Hmm. 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 Okay. So another question, Suresh, which comes to my mind is now this book you have written, which is equally important even for the client, investor, and the advisor fraternity also. Okay. Now, if I have to ask you, one thing what you would like to uh, tell or guide those investor or the advisors, both, what would that be?
So as far as investors are concerned, the only
Hmm.
thing I would say is, see, things are far, far more complicated, complex in every sense. Life has become far more complicated.
Hmm.
Finance as a subject matter and the number of products and I mean what you have to consider has also become fairly complex.
Hmm.
So unless of course you have an inclination to finance and you are willing to do your spade work, homework,
Hmm.
uh, and do the right things in your financial life, it is best that you engage some kind of an advisor. Otherwise, this is just not going to work.
Hmm.
Because all of us spend about 35, 40 years in actually, I mean, making that money.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if you are going to leave that money management to chance, and if you
Hmm.
don't have anybody proper professional to advise you,
Hmm.
probably you are not going to reach where you want to reach, or
Hmm.
where you had the potential to reach.
Hmm.
So I would just tell the investors that either if you have that inclination towards finances, you are okay with doing the spade work on finances, and you are going to be disciplined and diligent on that, go ahead. For all the rest, find a credible advisor, and that is what is going to work. Finance is no longer an easy subject. Life has become very, very complicated. None of us have too much time.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that is as far as the investor is concerned.
Hmm.
Now, as far as the advisor is concerned, this is a new profession. All of us are learning about our clients. There are lots of clients out there who require our advice. We have to act in a fiduciary capacity. We have to be empathetic towards our client and help them all along the way. And what we do for them actually helps them in actually enhancing the quality of their life itself, in their life itself.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
finances are a problem, the life is a problem. The relationships are actually undergoes a problem.
Hmm.
So as advisors, I actually when you go through this book,
Hmm.
they can actually see themselves there in various places. They can see themselves. So
Hmm.
in a sense, this is a kind of a, you can say, tutorial for advisors to deal with various clients in various situations.
Hmm.
I would say that, I mean, as a experienced advisor in this field, this can be very, very useful. I mean, people can read it as a story, but it can be,
Hmm.
I think, actually useful. It can give good pointers to our advisors in terms of what all experiences one will go through on their advisory journey,
Hmm.
and what actually we can expect from the client in terms of the experience that they will get from a great advisor. So that both the things they can learn. A new advisor may not know what the client may eventually go through and become.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
a lot of these new advisors will know, okay, this is probably how they will go, and these are the kind of situations we probably may encounter. And yeah, we can actually, I mean, I want advisors to also understand that we are going to play a stellar role in the lives
Hmm.
of the client. Actually,
Hmm.
we are going to play a wonderful, very, very important role in the lives of clients. So those are
Hmm.
the learnings as far as advisors are concerned.
Great, great. That was really, really very, very useful, I believe. And so, since we are coming to the last part of our talk today, one question is, now this is generally I ask everyone, when do I expect your next book?
Yeah, I don't know. I've not really thought about that. So
Okay.
I have written a whole lot of things in this book,
Hmm.
which I feel, I mean, a person should know from an advisor's perspective.
Hmm.
So one of the books that I want to write in future, I don't know when I will start writing. I have already written some 25, 30 pages, but I have
Hmm.
kept it at that. I want to write a book for millennials.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to write a book for millennials because I mean they have to learn that money is serious business right in the beginning.
Hmm.
So you cannot realize at 45 that, oh my God, I have wasted 25 years of my life or 20 years of my life.
Hmm.
And now I have to get serious about money. See, I mean, while at 45 you realize it is okay, there are things which you can do.
Hmm.
Had you realized that at 25, I mean, the whole life could have blossomed in a completely different way.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would like to give the basics of money management and basics of personal finance right in the beginning in a way that the young people will be
Hmm.
able to appreciate and understand. So that is probably the next thing that I will write on.
Hmm.
I don't know, frankly, when I will write that book. I
Hmm.
don't know, but
Hmm.
probably that is one book that I may want to write. And of course, I want to also write a book for our advisory community. I mean, this book has, you can say, lessons which some advisor can draw.
Hmm.
But I do want to write a book for advisors themselves in terms of the actual practice itself, setting up the practice, the actual advisory practice,
Hmm.
what are all the practice management tools and techniques that we do. So, I mean, getting into the
Hmm.
nitty gritty of an advisory practice itself.
Hmm.
That also I would want to do at some point in time. I don't know when I'm going to do that, but that is also something on my mind. And I want to also at some future point in time, I want to write a full-fledged novel, probably with a financial angle, because that is where, I mean, that is our focus area. So
Yeah.
probably I will write a financial novel also at some point in time, uh, with a financial, with a financial angle to it.
Perfect. That would be interesting. In fact, I'm looking forward right now for that book. Of the three, I think that was the most interesting. While I don't have any bias for that book in particular, but definitely, I'm still, right now I'm able to visualize that, considering I have read If God Was Your Financial Plan. And in your bio, I was looking at one certification that you have, which is registered life plan. How does life planning help in financial planning for the benefit of our viewers?
Yeah. So actually, life planning is something. So that is the whole idea of bringing God into this conversation.
Hmm.
Okay. So we are ultimately talking about life. We
Hmm.
end up talking about money, and we define everything in terms of money.
Hmm.
We generally, I mean, we generally misunderstand the whole thing as everything to do with money and gathering wealth and meeting one goal, buying a car, buying a house, and things like that.
Hmm.
See, a lot of times what happens is while we are doing all these things, we feel far more miserable. We may have 3 homes, we may have 2 cars,
Hmm.
but we may be even more stressed, even more anxious, and we may hate that job which we are currently doing and
Hmm.
all that. So, I mean, is that the purpose of life? I mean, whom are we trying to impress? I mean,
Hmm.
what are we trying to do with our life?
Hmm.
So, I mean, there has to be an internal search on what is that can actually make this life truly happy for you and for your family.
Hmm.
The life has to blossom out for you. The life has to be joyous for you, and there are things at your heart's core which you want to actually do, which are meaningful for you as a person.
Hmm.
What are those things? I mean, we all have a life. We have a limited number of years. We don't know. I mean, a lot of people say that after my retirement I'm going to do meaningful work.
Hmm.
Does that mean that till retirement, which is 20 years or 25 years, we are going to do rubbish work, and after retirement you will suddenly start doing meaningful work? So what is, I mean, we have to understand very deeply what is that quality which is currently missing in life, and what is that quality that we want to bring in today in the context of what we are doing today, and what changes we want to make so that that quality of life can, that quality which we are very, very keen on, can enhance everything that we are currently doing. So there may be changes, small to big level changes, which we may have to do in life to make the life well lived, meaningful, and I mean empowering. So that is the whole idea of life planning. Life planning, in life planning, as we say that we first visualize what kind of life we want to live first and foremost. So that is a fundamental thing. I don't want to first hear about I want 2 cars, I want 4 houses, and I want to send my kids abroad and things like that. So that is a received wisdom. Everybody is saying that, you are also saying that. So that's received wisdom. What is that you want? Okay, as a person, what is that you want? What does your family want? So I mean, if you actually deep dive into that and actually understand that, and if you are willing to reconfigure that, the vision that you will create for yourself and your family will be so empowering and so rich. And after that, if we actually build a financial architecture to bring that vision to fruition, that will be far, far more empowering. So that is actually the life planning portion before doing the financial planning portion. A lot of people don't understand, a lot of people don't have the maturity to understand this thing. They say, I mean, what are your goals? What else? What other goal do I have? I'm working in a corporate. I want to do well. I want to climb the ladder fast. I want to send my kids abroad. So these are my goals. So a lot of people have said that. But life is actually not about that. A lot of people realize at a later point. Some people don't realize also. So life planning, I would say, is very important if you ask me. But very few people actually truly realize that life planning is important and needs to be done first. So what we have done is we don't talk too much about life planning per se. We incorporate elements of life planning in our financial planning itself.
Okay.
So that they get a flavor of, okay, what is that is important to me? What is that I need to do? So they get a flavor of that. And then we get into this financial planning business.
Great. This was profound. And I think for the viewers, or what I understand from this book is, if you really read this book, you will get into the basics of what a plan is, what finances are, how you should approach it. Okay, one thing what I liked is when you read all these 7 stories which are given in the book, you will somewhere relate yourself. Okay, maybe this story is something relatable to me or my near and dear ones, and how this was approached by a financial planner or an advisor. And that becomes the basis of, I would say, selection of the right financial advisor who can provide you the torch, or be a guide or a pole star who can guide you towards your financial future and financial freedom. So read this book. And I always, whenever the moment I read this book, my first impression was, this is not just a book for reading, this is a book for referring. So keep this book with you, read this book, keep on referring as and when you have dilemma in your financial life, or your finances, or there are any challenging financial situations. And I think the God and the author will give you the answer of all your dilemmas. Right, Suresh?
I don't know about that. I hope so.
Sure. And if you don't get an answer, you please connect with a financial advisor. I think that makes more sense now.
Right. That's right.
Great. Suresh, it was nice interacting with you. And I think I got a lot of insights about this book and the clients and the reason of these clients coming in the book. So really happy that I read this book and I was able to have a discussion with you on this book. And to our viewers, now that the lockdown is slowly getting opened up and we are coming out of it, still don't get overexcited. Please maintain the hygiene, the social distance, all the precautions that you have to take. Stay safe, stay healthy, and do the right things for your finances. Thank you. do like and subscribe to our channel, and you will get to interact with more advisors, more authors, more on the personal finance. Thanks a ton, and thanks Suresh for joining.
Thank
Love
you,
the
Vikresh.
interaction.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.